about the event so far?
Well, quite an exciting event, and it was also interesting to see how opinionated the young women leaders are. For me, it's a necessary dialogue in society, but it also paves the way, for grounded leaders, for knowledgeable leaders, but more than anything, transformative. And we are excited that the Department of Higher Education is making such interventions, especially the Deputy Minister. But the inclusion of the TVET leadership space was, for me, more remarkable. And they had a way in choosing the panel. This panel, the two panels and the panelists were quite relevant, starting with the Deputy Public Protector, Advocate Galega. I also had inputs from the Chancellor of Nelson Mandela University, Dr. Geraldine Fraser, who was quite profound, including the executive chairperson of the NYDA. And later, of course, we were honored to have the minister, not the minister, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Higher Education, Ms. Mkachwa, who was a student activist herself. So I believe she inspired most of these learners and activists who are here today.
What are your views about the event itself?
Yes.
Your contribution?
This was a really beautiful initiative, necessary initiative by the Deputy Minister Puti Manamela and of course his office, and it was really amazing to learn, from the keynote speaker, Umam Geraldine, as well as of course my panelists. I mean, they were amazing, Prof. Mutseme, the leadership of Sashfetsa. It was really great to engage with them on issues relating to the higher education sector. I mean, I think from the one key thing that came out of Prof. Ntabiseng's input was how we really need to work on ensuring that the stories of women are told accurately. And then she spoke of like excavating. She wasn't even talking about archiving, because we often speak about getting it right now. She's saying, no, let's go back to what we can try and find and bring that up, because a lot of the ideas we have of what women have done and have not done and can't do and cannot do and we're allowed to and we're not allowed to, it's almost like they are recent constructs, where we were made to feel as though certain spaces weren't made for women. So I learned a lot from that, but also to just reiterate the intentionality that we need to have as women serving the higher education sector and the ecosystem thereof, right? So it's not only women in leadership like parliament or DVCs or VCs or principals and deputy principals who need to be sort of spearheading the change, but there's sort of a need for us as student leaders, as well as management, governance, parliament, the department, to be working in an ecosystem of accountability so that the change that we're making and the work that we're doing is coherent, and therefore there will be some sort of results. I think we won't find each other. So I think an engagement like this is really critical, because I think the representation of the people who were here was sort of encountering or representing everybody in this accountability ecosystem. So I think it was an amazing initiative. What we need to do now is work. Right? Now we all need to take our portion and say, what do I do to make sure that I live out some of the commitments that we collectively made in the room today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say to our audiences, a message from your work, the other side, as chair of the portfolio committee?
Well, I mean, the work that what I'm saying now is like me, the chair of the portfolio committee, right? It's to say, let's make sure that the accountability ecosystem, through and through. So, council is representational. Management is representational, student leadership is representational, senior management is representational, parliament is representational, and where we can sort of force it, right, like ministerial appointees. There's no reason why council ministerial appointees don't have to be reflective of our intersectionality as a country. I mean, parliament, we're doing quite well. The portfolio committee, I think, is predominantly women. So you will hear the portfolio committee being gendered in its perspective. You can hear that the portfolio committee is pushing for inclusivity, is pushing for intersectionality, for representation, and we're unapologetic, right? So we'll ask those questions. Honorable Mananiso will ask, where are the women? Honorable, Sibiya will ask, where are the women? And even the gentleman on the portfolio committee will ask for that. So we need to make sure that, because there were young women who were saying in a council meeting, there's like 2 of them, young women, and there's this plethora of men. So we need to make sure that the council is representational or intersectional, so that when they appoint senior management, DVCs, DPs, it looks like the student body that it represents. So I think for me, let's strengthen the intersectionality of the entire accountability ecosystem. That's what the chair of the committee is saying.
My name is Matsholo Pallo. I am the current sitting president of Motheo TVET College and also the acting provincial secretary in the Free State representing St. Feta. And also I'm also studying human resources in Motheo TVET College, and also to graduate for my business management studies now in September. Thank you.
A question. How do you feel about the dialogue, madam?
To be quite honest, the dialogue was informative. We've discussed critical issues, and I think really what we today have learned as the women in leadership is that we need to continue empowering each other and also continue supporting each other. To not say because of she's doing it, she can do it on her own, because really we do need support from all the females in leadership, and that's all that I can say today. But we really thank the Deputy Minister for organizing this dialogue, really, because it brought us closer as females, and also to talk about all the challenges that we have been facing in our leadership and how we can articulate and solve those challenges as female leadership. Thank you.